per hour now is about food. It is about your gut. And the perfect person to talk about this is Catherine Rogers. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
Good to have you in the studio. Your book, Gut Well Soon, A Practical Guide to a Healthier Body and a Happier Mind. Before I first, start delving into the mine of information that you have, tell me how the mind is connected to the gut. If you can.
Big question. So, the gut creates things that communicate with our brain through the vagus nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have an inflammatory condition in the in the gut, then it's indicated in things like depression, anxiety. The gut basically is your stomach, which hasn't got much bacteria, and then you've got the small intestine, the big intestine, and the amount of bacteria in there's thousands and thousands and thousands, and you have more cells in proportion that are bacteria and things like that than you do have human cells, and they break down our food and produce the information we need to function.
So if I were to ask you then, is the rise of depression, the rise of anxiety, the rise of mental health issues, because we've all got health issues, we've all got issues, we're human. So there are issues, whether it be mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Financial, we've all got issues. But there's definitely this rise, or there's less fear of talking about mental health issues. Are you saying that food can create a rise in mental health issues?
Absolutely, categorically.
And also, could it be, and this is just my personal knowledge, my personal gain, could it be the rise in chemicals in processed foods?
Oh, it could be. It could be, because anything that causes an inflammatory condition in the bowel will contribute to an imbalance. An imbalance in your gut bacteria will affect the way your gut, your third brain or your second brain, whatever you like to call it, communicates with the rest of the body. Can I give you a practical example?
Please do.
Okay, so I work in mental health, and I was working with a student, and very suicidal. And I do a mental health therapy, CBT, and I just thought, this isn't enough for this guy. Just talking therapies aren't enough. You go to the doctors, you get prescribed talking therapies or drugs. So I decided to go off piece and I said, right, we're going to do 5 things with you. We'll do the talking therapies, but you have to do other things. You have to have sleep hygiene. You have to go to sleep at 11, because sleep will affect the gut bacteria and the communication. You have to do stress reduction, like your last speaker was talking about stress reduction.
Yeah.
You have to get up and you go for a walk for half an hour, and you go into college, you socialise, and I just said it made it really simple for him. I cut out white food. Within 3 weeks, he was off feeling suicidal.
Okay.
With 8 weeks, it's a NHS scale, but he was 6, which is just above subclinical, so he was fine.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, can you determine white food, please?
Okay, white food. So things like white bread, sugar, processed foods, things that will cause an inflammation in your gut. And I'm not talking about when you fall over and you sprain your ankle. I'm talking about inflammation that's caused by lifestyle factors, and it will disrupt the gut.
Okay. White bread, white potatoes?
They do put up your blood sugar, but if you had it with a lot of other vegetables and protein and fat, you'd be fine.
White pasta?
Yeah. If it is the proportion on your plate, if half your plate is fibre, and fibre is anti-inflammatory, and you want to aim for an anti-inflammatory diet. So I'm an 80-20 girl. I have a bit sometimes. But yeah, you've got to have a lot of fibre, because the only thing your gut bacteria eats is fibre, and out of that they produce things like serotonin. They, which is it's the feel-good hormone.
Which one high? Yeah.
Yeah, then short-chain fatty acids, which are essential. Go into all the technical stuff, and it is. Eating half your plate as veg will be a massive start to giving yourself a balanced gut bacteria.
I'm a sucker for white basmati rice. Give it to me in boatloads and I will just eat the lot. But I need to balance that with veg,
absolutely.
Green. Does it matter what colour veg?
Oh, Mick Jagger's got the right idea. Rainbow.
Okay, all right, I get that. I get that. We've had an email in, there's so many things I want to ask you. What's diverticulitis? Ying Hu says her partner suffers from this.
Okay, so that is, and I'm not a doctor, but I know it's an inflammatory condition in the bowel. And inflammation is the root cause. And in my book, every chapter has 60 to 70 academic references, and the research on the gut since 2010 has gone vertical, showing the influence of inflammation on all sorts of conditions, from asthma to eczema to depression, heart disease, cancer, dementia. It's an inflammatory condition of the gut, and I would encourage her to look at lifestyle factors. For, is it her partner?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
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 We're talking about your gut. Well, soon Catherine Rogers is in the studio. This is a practical guide to a healthier body and a happier mind. So I'm thinking, if we were going to look at a triangle but reverse it, your body, one side, your mind, the other side, and then if you come down to the centre, your gut.
Yes.
Because what I'm hearing you saying is, from what you put in your gut, it goes up and feeds your body, it goes up and feeds your mind, and somewhere in the middle we want to find health.
Yeah? Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. If you've got any questions, then you can send an email in yourlondon@bbc.co.uk. You can text 81333, or you can call 0800 731 2000. Now, what are the three things that make RYG?
Okay, so RYG.
What's RYG? I'm seeing this a lot,
So it's I've written a program called Reset Your Gut, which is it's online on ryghealth.com.
Okay.
And it's incredible, actually, even though I say it myself. It's a 4-week recipe plan that you can log on to, and I don't care what you want to eat. I don't care if you're a vegan who doesn't eat celery. You can say what you want to eat for the 4 weeks, and then you say what your health condition is, and then I will produce 4 weeks worth of recipes, and little bloglets, as I call them, will pop up. So if you're depressed, the recipes will have a lot of magnesium and it will pop up. So after the 4 weeks, you'll get the gist of what you should be eating for that health condition. And we're still in the process of developing, and doctors are suggesting, like for FODMAP, and it will take us probably another year because there's only me to do. But we've got good basic stuff for low energy, migraine, cardiovascular, diabetes. You can log in, get the recipes. And I've had 18 months worth of people testing this,
right,
which I want to tell you about.
Is this just not another diet, though,
no,
Catherine?
It's not. It's absolutely
What makes it different?
Okay, what makes it different is it's priced through bog standard ingredients. It's not the health food shop. It's incredibly easy to fit into everyday life. If you go on there, you have rules for the week, so you can do the breakfast, but if you go out for lunch, you just follow the rules. And what doctors and health professionals are saying to me is, someone walks into their surgery and they're pre-diabetic, they want to be able to give them a simple tool to follow and say, go and do this and let's do your bloods after that. And my dream would be to get it in to the NHS as a medical device.
Okay, we're talking depression on the rise, mental health, anxiety. You've just mentioned diabetes. I've never known such an era where so many people I know are either borderline diabetic or have become diabetic. So, will your
Reset Your Gut?
Will that assist diabetes? I mean,
absolutely, because it removes inflammatory foods and it keeps low blood sugar. And we've had someone reverse diabetes on the program, and also there's lots and lots of evidence. You don't really need to know it from my plan, that having exactly the Reset Your Gut protocol will help you lower your blood sugar, remove inflammatory factors, which will decrease the symptoms.
So once you reset your gut, is this a food plan that really you have to stick to?
It's not a food plan. No, it's you've got one habit. This is like just changing a habit. And I know habits are really hard to change, but what I've found is people feel so good and so energetic. I've got a neighbour who was a vegan, hadn't slept for 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
She went on it, and she now calls me a sleep fairy, and her kids are calling her Jim Carrey on speed. She's got so much energy.
And Okay, so what were the factors that she had to remove from her diet? If you can remember, I'm not asking you to pick out this specific.
Okay,
Uh,
so she'd say she was a vegan who was eating white pasta
right.
and not much else. And she didn't pay so much attention to the B12 and all those concerns, which is on the website. And she changed it to half a plate was fibre and veg, about, a little bit of protein, a bit of fat, and there's carbs in those veg. That's all she did, and that's what reset your gut is. But what she liked was it's like having something to hang it on. She had some guidance.
So in improving your gut then, it can give you more energy, you'll sleep better, improve clarity, but I'm going to say two words here which are running rife, not even just in London, I just think worldwide: cancer and dementia. Now, my father suffers with dementia. I give thanks, he's 92, but if I walk in without my teddy bear that's 46, he doesn't have a clue who I am, and it is heart-wrenching to see this. It's absolutely heart-wrenching to watch this man, who taught me to read and write before I even went to school, look at me with completely vacant eyes. Heart-wrenching.
Okay, so cancer I'll come on to in a minute.
Yeah.
We've met cancer survivors. We do not meet dementia survivors.
Okay.
Really, really exciting. My chapter on inflammation, even now my chapter is out of date because I went to see a doctor talk in London 3 weeks ago, who they're now reversing dementia. Incredible. And it's a gorgeous story how it started.
Right.
Can I tell the story?
Please do, yeah.
So it's a doctor in America who actually treated premature babies and helped develop their brains. And her husband started getting dementia. And she's about 60, end of her career, and she said, oh my goodness, why aren't I treating my husband the same way I treat these babies?
Yeah.
Which is, there's a protocol. So she uses, and it included medium chain triglycerides, which are in breast milk, which are in coconut oil, and B12. She reversed her husband's dementia.
Wow.
Drug company's not happy. She's 60. She doesn't care. She carries on treating other people. Doesn't do the research. 2015, 2018, Dr. Dale Bresman started doing research, double-blind stuff that nobody could argue with. 3 weeks ago, he printed research where he has empirical evidence he's reversed dementia in 100 people with this protocol. And it's all to do with inflammation within the system. Because it's like a third diabetes, your brain. You lose the ability to get the glucose to it, and the protocol lets fat go to it instead. So the brain gets energy.
Ooh, Catherine Rogers. It is big stuff. We've got a few emails coming, but let's have some music now. Catherine Rogers is talking to me about her book, Gut Well Soon. It's a practical guide to a healthier body and a happier mind. Let's have some Mark Ronson and Late Night Feelings, and then we'll continue talking to Catherine. Feelings and getting lots of sleep by changing your diet. I mean, I must say, when I went sugar-free last year, it was about... I did it completely for 6 weeks. So literally no white bread, no white potato, no white pasta, no white rice. Like I said, I'm a basmati fanatic. No alcohol, no processed foods. It was literally chickpeas, lentils, vegetables, lots of fish, lots of water and berries. Strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries. And I've got to say, the first few days, everybody in the house just said, keep out of her way, because anything I could pick up and... No, but I think that was the sugar coming out of my system and my hormones balancing out. By day 4, slept like a baby.
And what are you doing now?
Well, I was at a wedding last night, so I've had some Prosecco. But anyway...
Yeah, the thing is about, you could do that, but why don't you do 80-20? Do something like reset your gut for 4 weeks and then go 80-20.
That's what I thought, because what I wanted to do was say 5 days of being very good and then 2 days of having a little bit of a binge. But the chances are, once you start binging, you never stop. So what I was finding was, if I just did it completely, I felt much better in myself.
That's true. What I found when people have done it, because after the 4 weeks they feel so much better. They don't go right
don't want to
back
spoil it.
to where they are, but they might, because you have to go and have champagne on a birthday or, my experience is because they felt so much better, they didn't. You don't want to go back. You don't want to go back. So yes, I had a piece of wedding cake, but it was
a small slice and not a wedge like what I would normally have yesterday. You have to treat yourself. Yeah. Catherine Rogers is in the studio with me. Catherine's book, Gut Well Soon, A Practical Guide to a Healthier Body and a Happier Mind. We are talking all things foodie and how they can assist, but I wouldn't say can't assist, but let's just say how they can assist. Right. Ian in Stratford says, hi, Angie. My wife says that sometimes cucumber gives her gut problems. Never heard of cucumber doing that, but she insists that it is. Is this common? Catherine, what would you say about that?
I really can't comment on that. It might be particular, she has a particular sensitivity to it. So,
isn't cucumber majority water?
Yeah, it's a lot of fibre, which is great for the bacteria. I'd ask whether any other foods did that. Was it just cucumber?
Maybe cucumber isn't your wife's thing, Ian. That's interesting. But let us know if there's any other foods that maybe give her gut problems. All right. Anna in central London says, is it true that to get protein from vegetables, you need to eat both grains and beans? If so, do they need to be eating during the same meal or just on the same day?
Right. Okay. So I worked with some Oxford researchers who looked at gut bacteria last year, and I asked about this idea of combining foods, alkaline foods, removing, rebooting, all these things that come out in, diet plans. And categorically, they said the gut isn't that sensitive. The gut actually, when you give it the food, it will extract what it needs. So anything that's telling you have to do it in a particular order or a particular combination, and these are PhD researchers who are the people who are doing the research that are showing the influence of gut bacteria on so many chronic diseases. They said it might be a good way to describe to someone to remove this, but actually the gut, it's not that sensitive.
So you can eat beans and grains any time of day.
And extracting the protein will happen as
with a meal, without a meal. So if I decided to go home and for my lunch had a bowl of chickpeas and with lentils together, that would be fine. I wouldn't need to put.
The body knows what to do, and it may be you need to get the balance back to produce some of the bacteria. For example, has anyone heard of Tim Spector, the diet myth? He put his son on a 10-day McDonald's diet and he lost 1,500 bacteria.
No, but I've seen the film Super Size Me with Morgan Spurlock, where he had McDonald's for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I believe it was for a month. And those results did not happen. The results you've just told me about did not happen.
So he lost, in those 10 days, he lost 1,500 species of bacteria. Now, science aren't quite at the stage where they know what each bacteria does particularly, but they know that they lost them. Give you an example of one bacteria they do know about. They took bacteria from an obese human and put it in germ-free mice. I know it's mice. And the mice ate the same thing. The mouse that was given the bacteria from the obese person with the same food put on weight because it had bacteria that lays down fat, adipose tissue, that we're supposed to do because we're caveman. So if you have an excess of that bacteria, you're more likely to put down fat. Okay. So it's the balance. It's not good and bad. It's the balance of the bacteria that's important. Okay,
and I'm just endorsing that we're not in any way, shape or form endorsing animal testing. Okay, there is an email that's coming, a text that's coming from Rosanna. It's a little bit sensitive. Morning, ladies. Very interested in the subject that you're talking about. Now, I suffer from bacteria overgrowth in my bowel, and I constantly have very severe and foul-smelling wind. Have tried taking probiotic tablets, but nothing happens, apart from a course of antibiotics regularly. Is there anything that you can suggest? And that is from Rosanna. Catherine, you've gone all stern in your face.
Oh, my goodness. Stop taking probiotics.
Right.
Because they're bacteria, and if you've got an overgrowth, you're just adding to it. Okay. And so there's lots of things you can do that antibacterial. You can take berberine, oregano. I am not a nutritionist, so there's nutritionists on the website you can consult. Go and see. Antibiotics will wipe out the bacteria.
But?
And once you've done that, you then have to be feeding the bacteria that are there to get a balance with fibre.
Catherine, you're giving me some great information here. We're going to continue talking to Catherine Catherine Rogers about her book, Gut Well Soon, and A Happier Mind. We've been talking about how you can make changes in your food habits to become healthier. And it's amazing, the word habit, it just covers so many genres, doesn't it? I mean, the saying is that if you can stick to a specific habit, you've broken it within 21 days. Is that true?
The previous one you broke.
The previous one you've broken, right, okay.
I think it's a bit longer. I think it's 6 weeks.
Is it? Oh, okay. Just really upset me there, Catherine. Okay, let's talk conventional medicine, because a lot of a lot of people have ailments. Let's take my dad for instance. He is on medication to slow down his dementia. There are other ailments that people have. Let's talk depression. Let's talk anxiety. Let's talk antidepressants. Let's talk about conventional medicine. Can conventional medicine remove, reduce, or assist some of the ailments that your food, your RYG, resetting your gut program assists?
Okay, let's talk about conventional medicine first,
Okay.
and then whether they can do it. So, conventional medicine does an amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
In the grassroots, 10 minutes, doctors sort problems, they enable people to feel better. How they do that, how they're trained to do that, is to look at the drugs that are available to reduce symptoms. But there's a groundswell. I don't know whether you've heard about these Liverpool medical students who are petitioning for more nutritional education in their degrees. At the moment, they have 2 hours average on things like rickets. So doctors are starting to realise that do they have the time in that 10 minutes?
So time is a factor here then, isn't it?
It is.
Really?
I mean, obviously in acute conditions, A&E, amazing.
Yeah.
But I think there's a real challenge in that 10 minutes, and my dream would be to have Reset Your Gut as a medical device in every NHS surgery.
And how do you see that
happening?
Assisting?
So someone walks in who's pre-diabetic. What would a doctor do in 10 minutes? They would say, you have to do X, Y, Z. And you walk out of the surgery. No, I'm mental health. I'm about motivation. What do those people do? You know, Reset Your Gut gives you a 4-week sort of breaking time where you can go and do it and then come back and get your bloods tested.
But do doctors have time to sit down and go through all of this? This is,
No, but hang on, if it's a medical device, they won't have to.
Okay.
It's there, they say do it, come back in 4 weeks. It's an amazing tool. I've got doctors...
So what you would like is doctors to go to... When somebody comes in and says, listen, I'm pretty sure I'm on the borderline of diabetes, they say, right, well, do X, Y, Z, and go to this website and follow this
At the moment,
program.
Someone who has a BMI over 30 is given a 12-week subscription to Slimming World. But with the gut, we're talking about is the root cause of so many diseases: depression, heart disease, cancer, dementia, arthritis, psoriasis, IBS, thyroid inflammation. It's something that can be done. We all know food is information. We all know that. At some level, we all know that.
I call food fuel. And okay, right, we've got a conversation going on here. Okay, I call food fuel. Let's say my tank takes 50 litres of petrol. I'm not going to try and squeeze 70 litres in there. So from a fueling aspect, that's how I look at food. Now you're rolling your eyes.
I am rolling my eyes because you've got that whole overfed and undernourished. Okay. You've got the calorie stuff, you know, which is... You know, it's not about fuel, it's about what the fuel is.
That's another conversation, isn't it? Let's go to the phone lines. Tom in Wimbledon. Morning. How are you doing, Tom?
Good morning.
Morning. You use probiotics, and some make you feel unwell.
Yes. Just before we start, can I just welcome you to your new slot on Radio London and wish you all the best?
Well, thank you, but it's not my new slot, but I'm doing it for 2 weeks. I'm thoroughly enjoying being here, Tom, and I love you. No need to be embarrassed. I like you. Okay, so these probiotics.
Probiotics, well, I'm just going to give you a positive history of me. I'll use a rude word, but I've been a complete killer because I've taken way too many antibiotics, some of them given to me by doctors, so that screwed up my microbiome, my gut. Anyway, I'm 52 now, before the age of 45, I literally had to eat to keep my weight up. I was one of those people who didn't need to exercise, those lucky people. Since then, I've now started putting on weight, and I'm bloated, and I have sort of irritable bowel type things, which I had before, but I started on various probiotics, but some make me feel very unwell. There's one which is highly recommended called Simprove, and that gives me the most agonizing pain you could possibly imagine. I'm just wondering what it is in certain probiotics that might disagree with me.
Okay, so probiotics do work, but I mean, are you taking them on a consistent basis?
Well, I can't take this one at all. I've bought a whole job lot of it, and I can't really take it because I get just severe cramping in my gut. I mean, other ones don't really work very well. There's another one widely available. I mean, there are many on the market, I'm sure you know. It's called VSL. It's a powder.
Yeah, no, I know that.
And that's really good. I find that one works.
Yeah, there's Probio 7 as well, which is very good. Lots of research on. The thing with probiotics is they know that it will increase the diversity in the gut bacteria, which is great. The broader range of bacteria in the gut is better for human health. And that people who have less diversity are more likely to suffer from asthma, allergies, obesity, all those things. But if they're making you feel uncomfortable, it's probably because you've got an imbalance in the first place.
That's correct.
So I would go with eating half your plate as fibre, eating maybe foods with probiotics in, like kefir, but not overloading with probiotics, and go and see someone who's a real expert. Maybe have a fecal test, which will tell you exactly what the bacteria is in your stomach, and they're very easily available.
So do you believe that doing a test of your stools for the bacteria is actually worthwhile?
In this, I wouldn't recommend it. Probably 95% of the time, I'd recommend doing it with diet. But if you sound very sensitive to the probiotics, because the diversity of the microbiome in the gut is not uniform. It varies along the GI tract, and each individual species has a special job. Some produce sugars and other, neuroactive substances we talk about. So, and those are the functions that science knows about. And there's lots of microbes. But if you have the fecal test, it will show you. It's only one off. It's on that day what came out at the end.
Could I just ask one final question, please?
Yes.
Colonics. I mean, I've had that done. It's the most to me, it's the most unpleasant thing possible I can imagine. But I have had it done when I had really bad irritable bowel. Do you recommend colonics? Do you think it's worth? Does it have a part to play?
Just before I let Catherine answer that, Tom, if you saw her whole body just change when you said the word colonics, so I'm going to assume that you're not too keen on recommending
Well, at the end of there's a chapter in my book called Testing, and academic research. The end of it says there's no evidence it does any good, but it doesn't do any harm. So if it makes you feel good, because that whole thing getting rid of the, can I say that word?
Feces, yeah.
Yeah, well, any other word.
Well, no, not that one. Yeah.
So some people feel so good, and that's part of it, reducing stress.
So why did you look as though?
Because people believe that by clearing out you can sort the problem. It's what goes in your mouth.
Okay. Does that make sense to you, Tom? Oh, he's made a move.
Hello.
Hi. Does that make sense to you,
yes,
Tom?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's been absolutely brilliant.
Lovely. Nice talking to you, Tom.
Thank you.
I actually get what you're saying. The clearing out is one thing, but then if you're going to go and put back in the same thing that was the reason why you needed clearing out, it's actually defeating the object, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's about finding out what's in the feces that's making the issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, there is a text here. Hi, Angie and guests. Fermented food. I really can't stomach it. Is it really essential to eat it, to have a healthy gut? If so, how much do I have to have in order for it to gain any benefits?
A really good question.
Right, let's talk. Give me an example. Give our listeners an example of fermented food.
Okay, so if you can stomach it, great. If you can't, don't worry. Because if the gut bacteria eat fibre, and if you've got gut bacteria in there, if you eat a lot of fruit and veg, they'll be doing their job. The idea behind fermented food, and there's a bit of a fad at the moment, is that it puts more bacteria in. I just want to pose your question. Your stomach, when that fermented food goes in, is hydrochloric acid that kills bacteria. That's what it does. So fermented food has to have a lot of, congruence, be really good to get through the stomach to benefit your gut. And so something like, kefir or yogurt, which has fat coating, it will get through. But for the health of your gut bacteria, what they need is fibre. Half your plate, fruit, veg, you'd be doing the job. A bit of fermented food, I can't tell you which one to do more of, but they would have to be good quality.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Karen. I want to ask you on the feeding habits of children. Okay? Having two young ladies, well, they're now 17 and 20, but when they were young, if we went out for the day, yes, when I was in good mummy mode, I would pack sandwiches, chopped up fruit. Oh, she just looks at me, the bread, okay. And it wasn't brown, I'm just being very honest. I'd pack sandwiches, I'd pack chopped up fruit, bottles of water. I'd be really, really good. But then there are some times when you're out, maybe you're out a bit longer than you plan to be, your little ones get hungry, and whether they can read or not, they recognise certain signs of certain foods, certain food chains, certain drinks, the colours. How can you assist your children in eating healthy? And I'm going to say with less processed food. Look, it just always dawns on me how my girls love burgers. Didn't matter where from, but it took me so much energy to get them to eat broccoli, to get them to eat kale. You know, my first daughter used to call broccoli flowers. She loved it. She loved it, yeah. But how do you do this?
So don't beat yourself up. It's
Okay.
80-20. And always, you're generally in control of breakfast and the evening meal.
Yes.
And if then you go out and they have, had a crisp because you've got to be in the train a bit longer, just don't beat yourself up. But I'll just relax about it. But make sure the breakfast and dinner are there and they're not processed. And, put foods together rather than making a recipe.
Right. So breakfast is definitely the key.
Yeah. Yes. But
Look, okay, look, if tomorrow morning, if I have 2 boiled eggs,
great.
Yeah, and a nice cup of herbal tea,
Fantastic.
mentally I'm going to think, do you know what, Ange, that's a good start for the day.
Brilliant.
If I rush out the house because I'm late, which I normally am, and I top up my oyster and get a packet of chocolate buttons, I'm in trouble for the rest of the day because it's setting my sugars off, isn't it?
Your blood sugar up,
Yeah.
and then you'll be hungry by 10, and then you'll eat something else.
So breakfast is the key.
Yeah.
Okay, so mums and dads, when you're taking your kids out, don't worry about if you're out. The odd little burger won't hurt as long as your kids have had a healthy breakfast.
And an evening meal with all the fibres, gut
Perfect.
bacteria.
Okay, we got another call. Harry is in South Norwood. Hi, Harry. Is he there? Oh, he's gone. All right. He was talking about having a chest infection. Hopefully we'll get him back. Okay, let's go to this very nice email. Hello, Eunice in Rotherhithe. Hello, beautiful voice, Angie Greeves. Oh, listen to you. Please ask your incredible guest, Catherine, is there anything she could recommend for relieving chronic tinnitus? Tinnitus, okay, which causes terrible headaches.
Oh gosh, well, a lot of
that's the ears,
Yeah.
like the ringing in the ears.
Yeah. I'm not an expert. Lots of sympathy because I had chronic migraines for years, which I sorted out with my changing my diet and removing inflammatory foods. I can't answer that one. Maybe you have to ask another listener.
Okay. Tell me how you got rid of your migraines. Tell me how you managed your migraines.
Managed, yeah, because I still have the occasional one. Lifestyle. I cut out inflammatory food. I cut down. I still get a migraine if I get really excited. So it's cortisol, or stressed. But I was overfed and undernourished.
I was told migraines, it's dairy. Dairy kicks them off. Is that true?
They don't know.
Okay.
They
So
really don't know.
Right. Okay, so
Yeah.
it could be anything.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another text. Good morning. A very interesting guest. I suffer from irritable bowel. I have high fibre in my diet. It has made it worse. Bloating, cramps. What can I do? And that's from Nicola, who is in Sanderstead. Thank you, Nicola.
Yeah, high fibre, and it's making it worse. My guess is lack of enzymes to break it down. So in some situations, the nutritionist on my site would suggest that you took an enzyme to help it break it down, because you may be lacking in that. I think you probably need to speak to someone on a one-on-one about that, because I wouldn't want to cut out the fibre.
But fibre is a very, very important part of your diet, regardless of any ailment that you have. We need fibre. We need to move that
So you need
area.
to find a way to break it down without causing all the pain, I guess.
Okay. Let's mental health issues. I'm very, very what's the word? I'm very, very passionate about talking about this. In the next hour, we're going to be talking about teenage self-esteem. I'm very passionate about mental health issues. I'm very passionate about what makes younger people than ourselves, feel this pressure to conform, feel this pressure to really become perfect. I think that actually creates the stress to try and become perfect. I think that actually creates more problems. The food that they eat, that also, as we've been discussing, is a major part of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
How can we go about breaking these habits? I know you've got the RYG program, but you know, a lot of young people are quite stubborn.
Yeah.
Want to do it their way. Don't want to hear what you've got to say.
But however, young people I work with, if you change it around a bit about more energy for life, being able to do more things. I'm starting going in. I'll go into any school and do my reset your gut talk, and I had great response from young people, because it's about the quality of their life, what they can do with it. So you know, change it around how you.
What age do you go into school? What age do you start at? Because I would say the earlier the better.
Yeah, and I'll go in any age.
Okay. We have Harry back from South Norwood. Harry, good morning.
Hey Angie, how you doing?
I'm very, very well. Harry, let's talk about this chest infection. You say you've taken lots of steroids and you're very bloated.
Yeah, so just a little bit of background. So I am diabetic type 2 and hypertensive. I've had this chest infection since Christmas. Probably had about 3 rounds of antibiotics, plus some stronger antibiotics and steroids. And I feel like they've done something to my tummy. It's become really, really bloated. I'm now actually gone off food because whatever I eat, I have some kind of reaction, be it wind or worse. And now I'm sleeping very little.
Gosh.
Just the thought of
tough.
antibiotics and steroids, just in my mind, there's a bit of an explosion going on in my brain right now.
Yeah, and your stomach is the seat of your immune system, which will why you've got the chest infection. I would start with a very simple diet. Maybe put the food through, cook it more so it's more broken down when it goes into your stomach. But you've got to rebuild your gut bacteria to get your immune system back.
Well, I am cooking separate meals. My partner's Jamaican, so Angie will know what that diet is like.
Oh, don't start me off.
And I'm missing all of that lovely food, but I am making more simplistic. Instead of spice, I'm using herbs. Just trying to keep it more plain. But we have made a decision at home that we're going to try like just fish and vegetables for the next couple of weeks as a as a compromise to help me and everybody else get fitter.
And maybe take a probiotic like Probio 7 or take one, because if those antibiotics will have completely wiped out all the bacteria.
Okay. Somebody said to grow my own yogurt cultures, and that will be a way of replacing it. Is that something you'd recommend?
Yeah, sounds hard work, but yes.
Harry, has what Catherine suggested, has it helped in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot of research, so she's kind of reinforced what I've come across. And, that has been very helpful, Catherine. Thank you.
And look at the RYG Health online to see the 4 weeks and maybe click on the one that says Help Your General Health.
Lovely.
Could
Harry,
you give me the URL for that again, please?
yeah, it's ryghealth.com.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harry. All the best to you. And I do know how you feel missing out on all that lovely Caribbean food.
And you can join the Facebook support group. If you say you're on this radio, then I'll pay special attention to questions.
Lovely. One last text that's come in. Hi, I've used Simprov, and I found it worked best out of anything. Simprov is live bacteria as opposed to other products which are not live. The cramping that Tom experienced was movement in his bowels, which can be experienced by jogging and will pass in time. Keep on the 12-week plan, Tom. That's from James in Yateley.
Yeah.
Catherine, it really has been good talking to you.
The simple is it costs a lot of money.
Right.
I think we need to move towards a simpler solution.
Yeah, because not everybody has the budget to do. Right, okay, Catherine, it's been really, really interesting talking to you. Catherine Rogers, her book, Gut Well Soon, it's a practical guide to a healthier body and a happier mind. For further details, go on to her online community, ryghealth.com.
And this program, I just want to say, it's £12 a week for 4 weeks. If you go on to diet plans, it's £75 for 1 week. So when I said about Simprov, this is affordable.
Lovely. We'll send people to your website. Catherine, thank you so much. Let's have a little bit of